Yeah.
Yeah.
Welcome back.
Welcome back
To
This is the Mystery Files podcast.
With me, Logan LaMaster.
And me, Tiffany Walker.
Or Volk.
Volk.
Vote.
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 Tiffany vote.
Make sure you guys vote in the upcoming election next
elections.
November.
Every vote is November. Can you believe it's December? Like almost
I know. It's like weird. I was like thinking the other day how like a year has gone by like so quickly. Like we were like, I know we do this podcast all the time.
Yeah.
But I was just thinking about like, oh wow, it has been a year since that specific episode. Or I was even thinking like, just looking at your computer screen now, I was thinking like literally you got married a year ago.
I got married a year
That's
ago.
That's crazy.
And like I'll look back at my pictures and I'm like, I was in Hawaii a year ago.
That's wild.
And I'm,
yeah,
like,
we took a
here.
break. We took a break because
We
you
were
were on a
a
honeymoon.
break. I was on a whole honeymoon in Hawaii. I'm like, now I'm just chilling like a villain.
That's crazy.
It just feels weird. Like, time just keeps on. And especially December. I feel like December was very quick. Like, to the point that, like, I have a little, like, calendar thing over there where you move the little Christmas tree every day. And, like, it'll be, like, 5 days. And I'm like, what the heck? I haven't moved that in 5 days. Like, it's bad.
It's always, like, I feel like this is such, like, a how's the weather conversation a little bit. But it's, like, it's weird because, like, the first week of any month feels, like, agonizing. And then just, like, boom, it's the end of the month. And I'm like, okay.
I'm like, just give me a day. Give me a day.
Right. I'm just like, please, what day is it?
Please.
It's hard to, like, keep up.
Like, we haven't had a show since... Wait, when was the last episode? Like, did we film before Thanksgiving?
I think
was it after Thanksgiving?
I think we filmed after Thanksgiving. We were off for a few weeks, though. I have no idea. Everyone here will know more than me.
I don't remember. I just know I was really sick, and that's why I couldn't speak.
Oh, yeah.
So,
yeah, and you had, we were supposed to do this episode we're recording right now last week, but you got overbooked at work, and... Which, that's also, maybe I can talk about as well.
Yeah.
I've gotten very busy recently, everybody, because I have a fellowship right now with the Andy Warhol Museum in Pittsburgh. I do social media videos for them now for the next few months. So
go look at their social media and be like, Logan did that.
Yes. Quick plug, baby?
Yeah, go ahead.
The Warhol... That was a bad plug. Okay.
No.
The Warhol Academy on Instagram and the Pop District HQ, I think, on Instagram as well. That's where they're going to post everything.
Yeah.
If they like it enough, they'll put it on the actual museum page.
Oh my gosh, that's so cool.
I know. I'm, like, super excited. So, yeah, check it out. I'm really excited because we've done socials for this show for so long. So it's, like, cool to, like, branch out to do more and also elevate our show even more. Like, I feel like I've gotten a lot of pointers. So I'm just, like... happy.
It's so exciting. Round of applause. I bet they're all clapping out there.
Stop. You guys.
You go, quit it.
Stop it.
Stop it.
Knock it off. We have to start the episode. Like, stop applauding.
Stop. Seriously, quit it. Stop. I already told you, I was texted to do this.
Yes, I want to hear more about it,
There was a customer, if you're still listening, then hey there, bestie.
Hey, girl.
But a customer literally came into the store, like, I want to say 2 weeks ago, and, like, they overheard me talking about the podcast, because I was talking about, like, our catacombs clip that went viral on TikTok, and they came up to the counter to, like, pay for their things, and they were like, oh, so you're, like, famous, huh? And I'm like, sure, but, like, no. But I was, like, explaining the show and everything, and then while she was in line, she, like, followed the show, I guess. And then she just came back into the store, like, a day or two ago, and she was, like, raving about the podcast to me.
Really?
It was so sweet. And, like, while she's raving about the show, she's literally in line, and, like, there's a line of people back the store.
Oh, my God.
And everyone in line was like, oh, my gosh, what's the show called? What's the podcast called? And everyone would come to the counter and they'd be like, what's the name again? And I'm like, oh!
That's so cool.
Like, it was just, like, a sweet little, like, adorable human moment. So.
Oh, my God. I didn't realize that, like, I mean, you said that, but, like, that's really cool. When they were coming up, they asked again. Like, they weren't just like, I'm going to keep that in my memory.
Yeah, I was like, oh, my gosh. And they, like, had their phones out. And I'm
really?
like, I want to cry. You're so sweet. They were, like, making me blush. And, like, I was still, like, overwhelmed because there were so many people in there. But I was like, you guys are so sweet. I'm overstimulated, but I love this.
It's crazy. Like, it's just, like, it's not, I think, not to be like, oh, it's not this for us, but like it's not necessarily about like having more fans and stuff, like, because we just love doing this, but it's so wild that like this past year feels like we really finally got like
More of an audience,
recognized.
yeah.
Yeah, like a lot more momentum. Like people
it's so
want to hear us.
sweet.
That's so nice.
Like, I feel like when we first started, my big thing was, like, I wanted to make things to, like, capture our little moments, because then when we're old and we have, like, kids or something, we go, oh, listen to episode 36 of the Mystery Files back when I was 22, like...
I don't know if I told you about this, but I was talking to somebody, I think it was at the Warhawk, this fellowship I have, and they asked how many episodes we had, and I was like, I think we just released, like, our 75th, which isn't, like, all of our episodes, because we have the specials, and the Science Files just started, but, like, the documentary.
Yeah.
But I said 75, and they're like, 75?
I mean, you're like, we've been here.
We've been grinding.
Yes.
Yeah, that's awesome. Did she happen to say, like, what episode she watched, or was it just, like...
I was going to ask her, but there was too many people in line.
Probably my episodes, though,
it was probably yours. I think... Speaking of popular episodes, I think your Appalachia Trail is how you say that. People are yelling at us for saying it. Yelling at me for saying it wrong. Whatever Appalachia Trail.
Appalachia.
It was the top on our Spotify Wrapped.
I saw that, yeah.
So, for this year.
Also, we are from here. We are from Pennsylvania. We are
in the
I am allowed to say Appalachians.
I will say all of the above. It's like, what do you say for crayon? Crayon?
Yeah.
Or crayon?
Are you going down to the creek or the crick?
The crick.
You get in the cart or the buggy? I hate that one. Cart and buggy, girl.
Commode.
I think I told you about this before. I've changed it because I used to get bullied all the time, and you might remember.
Oh, no, clicker?
Yeah!
No.
I used to call the TV remote the clicker.
Respectfully, I'm glad you switched it up.
Do you remember when we lived together? I went to, not Danielle, Tiffany. I was like, can you hand me the clicker? You were like, the what?
The what? I was like, back up. Rewind. Say it again.
I don't say it anymore because it's embarrassing. I don't know if other people say it, but our family called it the clicker, so.
Aw, it's okay to be wrong. That's okay, too. But yeah.
So we're now on season 8, episode 2.
Yay!
Last time. We talked about the Denver International Airport.
We did.
Mm-hmm.
We did.
And that got a lot of traction, too. A lot of people seem to like that one.
Yeah, you guys are real. Thank you.
Yeah. Danny actually, told me that he really liked that episode, by the way. He was a big fan of it, so...
Sweetie.
I'm excited to get the ball rolling on
I don't think you're ready. This one is, like, fantastical.
Well, you said that beforehand. I
think that's just the best way for me to describe it. I wouldn't say scary. Could be scary.
We got any murders? There any...
Man, I wish. But, like, not this time. Maybe. If you believe in it. I don't know.
If I believe in murder?
I don't know.
Murder's subjective, right?
Subjective. It was really, like... But yeah, I don't think you're ready for this one.
Okay, should I give you a little drum roll?
Yep.
Okay.
This week on the Mystery Files podcast, I'm presenting the case of The Legend of Dragons.
What? Okay.
Like, wasn't that unexpected?
Like, full, like, if there's a realm of what we talk about on the show, it's over here. Like, it's far off to the right. But I'm excited. Yes. Dragons!
Well, because I was watching, what is that movie called? With the dragons?
How to Train Your Dragon.
How to Train Your Dragon.
Game of Thrones.
But I was, no. I was watching the third How to Train Your Dragon the other night. And
that's the best one.
Then I was talking about if they were real or not ever, and then that's what got this case inspired.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
So I was like, wait, why have we never talked about dragons before?
Dragon.
Oh,
I'm excited. Yes. Let's go. I love dragons.
Yes, now I can pull up this without you
Does it just say dragons? Like, what's the... Okay, it's literally The Legend of the Dragon.
Yeah, dragons. Legend of Dragons.
Sorry.
Okay, now that I'm looking, I want to make sure you guys... I'm gonna cite my sources.
Yay!
Luna is looking at you like you're excited. But yes, my sources this week are historydefined.net, theansweringgenesis.org, creativebeast.com, and theblackdragon.com. My laptop is listening to me and recording me right now. Stop it. Stop it, Siri. How do I stop it? I'm so scared. Okay, now she's talking. Stop it! She was recording every single word I was saying, but now she's gone. But yes, I'm about to get into my intro, so get ready.
Let's go.
Dragons have captivated our imaginations for millennia, appearing in the myths and legends of cultures scattered worldwide. From the fire-breathing beasts of ancient Greece to the dragon kings of Chinese mythology, dragons have long served as symbols of power, danger, and wisdom for many years. But where did the widespread stories of these fierce, fantastical creatures come from, and why have they captured our imaginations for so long? Tales of dragons, as we recognize them, first appear in the mythology of ancient Mesopotamia. Turn back the clock to the 2nd millennium BC, and a mythological creature called the Mashusu, or fierce snake, appears in written texts. And my curiosity from this is if it inspired, like, the character Mushu from Mulan.
Oh,
because
really?
he's a little dragon, but
Yeah.
from my understanding of how to say this, it's pronounced Mashusu. It's the original, like, little fierce dragon snake thing.
Do you think they, like, Americanized it because Americans?
Maybe.
They didn't feel like...
Maybe they're like, oh, they can't hear extra letters because they're dumb. Which, I get it, but, like...
Yeah, that's
Mashusu
cool.
is, like,
Mashusu?
Mashusu.
That's cool.
Yeah, so this Mashusu emerges throughout Sumerian and Babylonian mythology and is described as a serpent-like, covered in scales, and possessing a snake's tongue and head, along with the talons of an eagle.
Oh.
Ew, I can't imagine little clicky-clacky talons.
I'm curious to know already what, like, the physicality of that is. Can you imagine, like, that thing trying to, like, fly? Like, it has a big old snake body.
I can't.
And then it's, like, little talons and it's got wings. Like that one How to Train Your Dragon that has the little wings. And he's like...
Aw, the little pudgy one.
Yeah.
Ooh, yeah, so this is what little Mashusu looks like.
He looks nothing like what I thought. That's cool.
He's giving kind of like horse vibes.
Yeah.
Or like, oh, I guess that is, what is that other movie with the thing that looks like, we talked about this movie before. No, when that kid like raises that thing that looks like Nessie.
Oh,
we talked about this movie, right?
Yes, we talked about it. This was like...
Oh, it's gonna drive me
like 30
nuts.
episodes
What the
ago.
heck is that movie
We watched
called?
it during quarantine.
Water Horse?
Well, I think it's Water Horse. Look it up. Make sure. Double check.
Water Horse.
That was the night, remember, like, we started, it wasn't even the night. It was during the day, during quarantine. Mm-hmm. And we just started watching movies, and then we kept on this, like, animal theme. Like, we kept watching, like,
we watched, like, 101 Dalmatians.
Yeah, and, like, Water Horse. We watched something else. We watched, like, 4 animal movies that day. That was so funny.
Oh, yes, it was the Water Horse from 2007. I'm gonna watch that again soon, because that's cute as heck.
Aww.
But yes, that was a good night.
You should, for the graphics for this episode, you should have a picture of both of us, and then, like, the water horse in the background, and then another dragon, like, flying above us.
Stop it with fire.
With fire.
Flames of fury.
And then half my face is scales.
That's sick. No, that's a cute idea. You joke, but yes. So, most notably, the god Marduk is often depicted as one of these dragon-like figures, which may also have represented the defeated deity Tiamat. The draconic creature can be seen in carvings from the Ishtar Gate in Babylon, dating back to the 6th century BC. It is uncertain where these dragon myths originated prior, but they spread throughout the region. So, like, this is one of, like, kind of the earliest documented cases of them, but, like, they don't know where that came from. Like...
Yeah, like, that's... History's wild. Like,
yeah.
So here's this, but also we don't know where that came from.
But, like, there it is. But, like, we'll go into even more of that, of, like... Where did these things come from? Like, if they're not real, then why are they real to people? Like... Yeah,
I mean, there's a lot of different, like, theories, and I'm sure we're gonna, like, get into them, but, like, there's, you know, dinosaurs that they thought could breathe fire, and, like, things like that, but, like, we didn't walk amongst the dinosaurs. Like,
we weren't...
Unfortunately.
We weren't scattering around
that. Just the last to find out, apparently.
Darn.
But I'm ready. So, we're gonna go around, like, the world a little bit?
A little bit, yeah.
Okay,
yes,
cool.
Yes.
I'm
so
excited.
Get ready. Put your little traveling goggles on and your little safari hats.
Out.
Get your wings ready to rock and roll and
These
fly.
These ones are meant to fly.
Fly. Yep, that. Dragons also appear in the literature and mythology of ancient Persia, particularly in the form of Azadas. So, I'm just gonna preface this. There's a lot of words on here with a lot of letters, and I'm reading the best that I can. So if I mispronounce something, hoot and holler at me. So
we're going through, like, a lot of different, like, areas and languages and stuff.
Yeah, so I'm trying.
You're probably gonna do better than me than any French episode we've done that I've done.
But at least you do, like, a cute little accent, even if it sounds really wrong. It's like, oui. Like, you're trying, but, like, I don't know what this is.
It's French if you do it confidently and wrong.
Oui. So in the form of Azadas, evil figures depicted as giant snakes or winged lizards. Ooh. Zak, also known as Zak the Snake Shoulder, is one such figure in Persian mythology, also described in the ancient Persian folklore, such as the Avesta as Azia Dhaka. Meanwhile, in Zoroastrianism, one of the oldest religions on earth, Zak is also considered the son of Aram and the personification of an evil spirit. So clearly, while dragons feature heavily in ancient Persian mythology, they were considered beings of great evil and as bad omens. Luna, are you a bad omen? My cat just jumped on the table.
Hi, Luna. She's back on the podcast.
You can stay if you lay, Miss Girl. Let's see what she does.
Girl, what if she's a dragon?
She honestly could. She honestly has like little baby dragon vibes. Can you lay down, Miss Girl?
You can tell by her asthma. She like could breathe fire.
That's probably why she can't. They're perfect
Yay!
spot, Luna.
Yay! Luna!
She's laid down, so now she's gonna stay with us. She just can't see her on screen. But yes.
That's really cool.
Yeah, so these ones were considered like evil and bad omens.
Yeah. That's so interesting. Like I love the like spiritualism of like some of these like already. Like I
what
like
they're
the
representing.
topics of it. It's fun.
Because then we'll obviously get to other places, but I think in like Chinese mythology, then they're considered like good luck. So it's just like you get to see all the different sides of what people believe.
That's cool.
But for the next one, we're going to be talking about the ancient Egyptian dragon god. Logan loves Egypt, so here we go.
I think I might know a little bit about it, but
a little. Well, if you know more, that's perfect. 'Cause I only have a little baby piece of it, so. Cool. Ancient Egyptian stories also host mythological dragons like the giant serpent deity Apep or Apophis, who were also viewed as the god of chaos and the adversary of light. Apep was a nemesis of Ra, the sun god, and his roots can be traced back to as early as 4000 BC. Yeah. So yeah, that's kind of what I have, but
yeah, that's a pretty good like summary of it because like there's just in Egyptian mythology there's just so many like monsters, gods and goddesses, deities, like just like there's a they got so much.
Which we eventually have to go down that track because I know they also got stuff with like having eternal life and the cup of ink and like crazy stuff.
Did you see this sidebar and we'll come back? Did you see the Percy Jackson series yet? Because I haven't.
I haven't, but I want to watch it. I was just talking about it the other day.
Really?
And then it got released and I was like, it's already released.
I know. I'm gonna watch it over break a little bit. I think I'm excited. But back to this.
Yes.
Ancient Egypt, like especially mythology, they love stuff with like snake imagery and stuff. Like they love like a Franken snake. Like a lot of them have that. They have like I think there's one. This might be it, but I don't remember. There's like a devourer one that's different from the crocodile that eats people's hearts. There's like a devourer snake, I believe.
Ooh, that's like.
Are you looking for me?
Yeah, I can't spell, so don't look at that.
Yeah, it's like they love snake imagery. It's like
Apep, also known as
Oh my gosh! Wow. Yeah. Okay.
So he's a chaotic serpent deity and embodiment of chaos and destruction. Apep was believed to be an enemy of the sun god Ra, who would try to devour him during his nightly journey through the underworld.
See,
so you were on it.
I was on it.
You were on it.
Yeah, no, because like they have a lot of stuff with like him just like devouring like souls or like wanting to take over the light and stuff. That's cool.
Ooh.
So fun.
This is like the kind of stuff I want to see in movies. I'm sure there's already movies, but like
there was, I think I've talked about before when we did Curse of the Pharaohs, but there is a show called how do you say it? Tutankhamun. It's not King. It's about King Tut.
Okay.
Like about like him coming back to life, and they're like running around a museum and dealing with ancient Egyptian monsters.
That's really
cute. It's a great show. I think it's literally called Tutankhamun or something.
Okay.
Like it's supposed to sound like.
Do you think it's on like YouTube or anything?
It probably is.
But yeah, I would love to see that show.
Yeah, like I think it'd be like fun. I'm sure it's on YouTube because like I doubt anyone is like worried about people watching that for free.
It might even be on like Prime. Like I feel like that's something that would randomly they have on Prime for like free.
Or Tubi.
Or Tubi for sure. They have everything.
Yeah.
Respect. Sponsor us.
Yay.
But yes, now we're gonna move on to the Chinese dragon that I like briefly brought up earlier, but the Chinese dragon is revered in its culture. The dragon has long symbolized power and good luck, as well as portending influence over the weather, not unlike in any other cultures. It is widely viewed as a spiritual and harmonious symbol in Chinese mythology. For example, the Chinese emperor often used the dragon to showcase his power. So the earliest presentation of dragons in Chinese culture appears during the Zilonghua era. So, while the traditional image of the dragon morphed and solidified later during the Shang and Zhou dynasties. So, the concept of the Chinese dragon is famously presented to the Dragon King of the Four Seas. Each Dragon King...
name.
I know, I'm like, ooh,
Dragon
that's
King
so
of
powerful.
The Four Seas?
Of the Four Seas. Each Dragon King is linked to a specific color and body of water.
Ooh!
So, this is already beautiful imagery. For instance, the blue dragon represents the east and the spring, with the red dragon symbolizing the south and summer, the black dragon, the north and winter, and the white dragon, the west and autumn. Ooh, I like the white dragon. That's so cozy.
Wait, the white dragon represents autumn?
Yeah, the west and autumn, which, like, certain things you're like, well, wouldn't it be the red dragon or the autumn? But, like, I kind of like that, like, stark difference. And then finally, the yellow dragon is considered the animal embodiment of the yellow emperor. So they all have, like, beautiful symbolic things. That's so cute.
That's cool. What the heck? Wait, so the emperor is the yellow dragon. So there's 5 dragons?
Yellow, white, black, red, blue. Yes, 5.
Yeah, 5. Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
That's fun.
The 5 of the seas. Now, are you ready for this?
Can I say something?
Yeah. What's up?
It's the dragon of what was it? The king of.
Let's look at the exact phrasing. Dragon King of the 4 seas.
Where's the other 3? When did they get discovered? Like, I'm genuinely asking.
Oh, wait. Dragon King of the 4 seas. Each dragon king. What do you mean? Like, where did each dragon
Aren't there
get?
7 seas? Am I being crazy? Like, when were the other 3 seas discovered?
Oh, I understand. I was like, what are you asking me? I don't know. Maybe this is back in the day. Well, then it's also like, what's that like? Oh, 4 seas. Like, I treaded the 4 seas. Like, it's not.
Who said that?
I don't know. Some like
it's the 7
traveler.
seas.
But
like pirates go, I've gone through the 7 seas.
The 7 seas. I don't know. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm not gonna lie. 4 seas.
Look real quick. Look like what was the last sea to ever be discovered?
Are there 4 or
what are the 4 seas?
7.
I need to know. This is important.
Seas. The 7 seas include the Arctic, North Atlantic, South Atlantic, North. Blah, 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 blah. So I don't know what the 4 seas mean then.
The exact
There's
origin of the
definitely
phrase 7 seas is uncertain, although there are references in ancient literature that date back thousands of years. So where are the 4 seas?
What are the 4
I
seas?
need my answer.
Somebody tell us. Dries.
Are there only 4 seas like in that area? Oh my God, there is only 4 seas.
This is a sea for each of the 4 cardinal directions. The West Sea, East Sea. So they're all like seas that surround China, from my understanding.
Oh,
2 of the seas were symbolic until they were tied to the genuine locations during the Han Dynasty wars with the Shinagu.
I'm not stupid.
You're not stupid. You're
that's
not.
Cool. Oh, that's cool. Like to add to like the culture too.
Yeah.
That it's just like it's their like 4 like bodies of water around that area. That's cool. I'm into that.
They're killing it over there. All the way over there.
Y'all got the sickest dragon so far. Congrats.
Good work. Well, I don't know. We're about to get into the dragons of Japan and Korea, so let's see. If they're scary, I might choose them. I might choose the scary ones.
Olympics of drag. The Olympics of dragons. Yes.
Logan, I have to tell you something because
about dragons.
About drag. So yesterday there was this customer that came in, and they were talking to me about like Sharon Needles. And at first I was like, oh, they're a fan. Because they were, like, talking about, like, Sharon Needles came out with, like, 2 or something, a couple Christmas songs or something like that.
Yeah.
A long time ago, whatever. And I was like, oh, that's so cool. Like, I'll just take a listen. Like, that's so fun. And then, this is a controversial topic, but they were like, this person was like, oh, well, she's not even a real woman. And I'm like, and then they were like, she'll never be a real woman.
Dang.
And I'm like, oh my gosh, don't bring that energy up in here. I thought you were going to be a delightful person. I was just
don't think she's trying to be a real woman. I think she's just performing.
And
that's
like,
so weird.
If she wanted to be, then she can be. Not, she'll never be. I'm like, ew.
Dang.
And like, I was so nice to this person prior to that. And then as soon as they said that, I went,
You're like,
have a good night. Like,
you want this bag to go, please?
You can leave. But yeah, I was like, drag.
Insane.
I had to tell you because I was like, Logan will understand.
What an out of pocket thing to just randomly bring up. Like, this artist is amazing. They will never be anything.
They'll never be a real woman. I was like, let's not bring that energy in here.
That's so ridiculous.
I was just like, so do you like drag or do you not like drag? Because right now, you're giving me mixed signals. But I was like, I have to tell Logan. But yes,
insane.
But now we're going to get into the dragons in Japan and Korea. So, dragons are legendary figures in Japanese folklore and mythology. Their origin is a mix of native legends and myths imported from other Asian cultures, particularly China. So we got some stuff sprinkled in here too. So, a handful of indigenous dragon stories in Japan, such as the Kojiki and Hongi, emerged in the late 7th century AD. Chinese dragons greatly influenced the appearance of Japanese dragons. They are largely serpentine creatures with clawed feet. These creatures are typically associated with bodies of water, rainfall, and water deities.
Ooh.
So, like the Japanese, Korean dragon mythology draws heavily from Chinese influence. However, in contrast to European folk traditions, the Korean dragon is a benevolent creature associated with water and agriculture.
Ooh, I love water imagery, so that's really cool.
It's beautiful.
Wow.
So in Korean legend, dragons are often depicted as conscious beings with emotions that are protectors of the country. So the legend of King Moonmu, who wished to become a dragon of the East Sea to protect Korea, is a famous example of one of these conscious dragons.
That's really cool.
Yeah, so I'm like, that's really fun.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love that like imagery. So like they're saying they're conscious. Like, are they talking or are they just?
Yeah,
like,
they're conscious. They have emotions. They are protecting whole countries. So now we're going to get into dragons on the Indian subcontinent.
Ooh.
So, here's a word I'm going to try to say. The Mahabharata epic is a significant text in Hindu mythology and introduces the concept of serpent beings. The epic describes it as a semi-divine race with the power to assume human or serpent forms.
Oh, that's cool. So it can like transform.
Yes. I'm like, ooh, I want to be a little snake.
I know.
So these kings, including Shisha, Vazuki, Takasha, and Princess Alupi, are all depicted in the epic. They are often associated with the underworld in dark caves and depicted in Hindu, Buddhist, and Jain iconography in various forms, including as humans with snakes on their heads or as half-human, half-snake beings.
Like Medusa.
But she's like a bunch of snakes with one.
Oh, ew. I'm like, ew.
Ew.
Can you imagine a Medusa, but instead of snakes, it's dragon heads?
That's cool. With fire. Wait,
oh my god.
Wait, didn't the one girl...
Blow drying? Shh.
Oh my gosh, can you imagine? What's that girl's name? The girl on Monsters Inc. Didn't her little snakes breathe fire?
Yes. What is her name?
Did they have fire? I don't care.
Isn't it Sally? No.
I couldn't tell you.
Sally?
But didn't her snakes breathe fire? Let's see.
Watch it, Sally.
Monsters Inc.
If it's Sally, that'd be crazy.
Mike's girlfriend.
Because then it's like Sully.
Celia May.
Oh.
Did they breathe fire?
I don't think she breathed fire. I think she just got like mad with the little snake. She went.
They went.
Dang, I said Sally.
Hey, you were really close, Celia. That's not that
yeah,
far
that's
off.
like the same name, basically.
Yeah, basically the same name. So another large serpent in Vedic religion is Vrichya, also known as Ahi, a dragon personifying drought and adversary to the thunder god Indra.
Ooh.
So like,
okay.
They got a lot of fun. I like that these ones are a little dark and a little spooky.
Yeah, they're very dark. I like the I don't know a lot about like Indian culture where it comes in with like mythology and stuff. So that's like really cool.
Yeah.
That's like fun. I like the idea of like the transformation. Like this is just a very like American thing to say. It just reminds me of American Dragon Jake Long a little bit too. Like that. Like
oh my gosh.
Growing up, I always wanted that power. Like gosh, if I could just
yes.
turn into a dragon just for fun.
Wasn't his little sister also a dragon?
Yeah, their whole
So
family was.
cute.
Except for the
it.
dad. He was like, oh,
he's just a man. I love
He's just a man.
I love the
Typical.
trope. He's just Ken. I love when they have the trope of like there's this whole entire family and then there's one normal guy.
Yeah.
Like the dad's just the normal guy. That's a
no,
good
for
bit.
real. I think that like he didn't know or something.
How could he not? I mean, maybe he did. Yeah. I don't know.
Can you imagine being married and keeping that secret? That's crazy.
That's shady.
Crazy.
Your whole kids are gonna be dragons one day.
Yeah,
He's gotta know.
But I just like that because that's the first one I think I've heard from these that like genuinely said like they can look human to dragon. Like that's cool.
Oh,
I'm into that.
That's so fun.
Nice.
So then the next one we're going to get into is Southeast Asian dragon myths. Ooh. So like we're gonna have a couple of these, but like no, there are so many different dragon stories from across the world and like they're very in-depth. So, like, no, I'm giving you bite-sized versions. So, if you want to go look into more, please do, because it's really fun.
And Asia is also just, like, huge. So, like, it's definitely, like, cut off into, like, territories and stuff. Like, there's, like, Northeast culture, Southeast, like, things like that.
Like, it switches so much by just, like, a little bit of direction. So.
Yeah. Don't quote me on it for sure, but I think Raya in The Last Dragon, I think, is Southeast Asian-inspired.
Ooh, okay.
With the dragon myths and that. Which is different from other sides of like Asia because they just have it like split into territories. So like, I just think it's cool like how much they over there in Asia, like just the different cultures that are there with the territories. It's interesting.
Yeah.
It's very, because it's so big.
So this should be close to Raya then, right?
I think so.
Okay.
Should I double check real quick?
Give a little look-sees. Why not?
I'm gonna do a little Google search, everybody.
Google search.
I loved Raya and the Last Dragon, by the way. It was very good.
I do too. I honestly do kind of forget, but there's a lot of shows that as soon as I watch them, my brain forgets.
Really?
Like the plot. I don't know. It's an issue. Raya and the Last Dragon.
I was right. It's Southeast Asian cultures.
Yay! Raya!
Mic drop. Dragon drop.
Fire. Fire, okay. Flames. Okay.
Continue.
So, in Philippine mythology, the Bacanawa is a dragon-like serpent creature. It is believed to bring about natural phenomena such as eclipses, earthquakes, rain, and wind. The Bacawana is usually depicted as having a looped tail and a single horn. It was generally considered a sea serpent, but was also thought to inhabit either the sky or the underworld. So, over time, the Bacawana became associated with the Hindu, Buddhist, Rahu, and Ketu, all other dragon-like creatures, through increasingly trade and communication with other South Asian civilizations.
Oh, that's on par with what happens in Raya the Last Dragon a little bit. Like how the dragon is, it's like blue and like fluid looking.
Ooh.
And it has like, I think like just very small, long talons. Like it has tiny feet, but like big talons.
Ooh.
That's cool.
Scary talons.
That's cool.
So I guess that similar versions of the water-dwelling dragon exist in Tagalong and Ati mythologies.
Ooh.
Laho, also known as Nanu and Boya, is another serpent-like dragon that causes moon eclipses.
So, it causes them?
Which, that kind of makes sense to me because I feel like, aren't there, like, ties with, like, the ocean and the moon?
Yes.
Like, tide and the moon and all that stuff. So, like, it would make sense that, like, this water-dwelling dragon serpent creature would be the one to, like, control eclipses and, like...
Can you imagine controlling the moon like that? Gru is mad.
You're like, I'm about to get a crescent up in here, and they put a little crescent moon? Like, that's so cute.
Gru from Despicable Me is mad as hell right now that he can't move the moon.
Yeah, he moved the moon. Wasn't there also, what's that movie when they... Well, Evan Almighty, or is it the other Almighty? Bruce Almighty, when he, like, pulls the moon closer to him. Remember that?
No. I don't know if I've ever seen it. Anyway.
Well, watch Bruce Almighty, because he pulls the moon close to him with a little fake lasso.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
I love how most of these have water dragon visuals, because it goes back to the whole, like, Loch Ness Monster thing and, like, whatever.
Speaking of the Loch Ness Monster, I have to show you... No, I have to show you this TikTok of someone took this video of some creature that was, like, discovered recently, and it's, like, scary, like, how much it looks like the Loch Ness Monster.
Really?
After the show, or I'll even put it in here so you guys can see it, but someone found this creature, like, got a beautiful, like, footage of it, and it's so scary, but it's huge and horrifying, so I'll show you after, you'll see it now, but scary as heck.
I can't wait to see.
I can't wait to see. But now we're going to get on to the, let's see if I can say this one, Kapamanganan Lawu is known to be depicted as a bird-like dragon or serpent that causes solar and lunar eclipses as well.
These dragons and their weather reports, it's crazy. I know,
they be controlling the sun and the moon. So it features closer to the Hindu-Buddhist demon Rahu, so like it's similar to that instead. Okay. And now we're going to get on to the European dragons. Dragons play a significant role in ancient Greek mythology, depicting them as large snakes with the ability to spit or breathe poison.
Oh, yes.
So, poison, fire, all of the above. So the word...
What was poison and fire?
Poisonous fire.
Poisonous
fire. But, like,
fire.
when you already... You wouldn't want to be hit by fire, so who cares if it's poisonous or not? Like, it's gonna hurt you.
Then it would, like, burn even more, right? It would be, like, two types of burns.
Like acidic fire.
Yeah, it'd be, like, two at the same time.
Ew.
I think we just invented a new weapon.
Good luck, Charlie. I'm a little scared of that. So, the word dragon is derived from the Greek word draken, which has its
Dracula?
Dracula. I mean, but he's got the thingies.
He's a dragon.
Stop, what if he was the first dragon? Wait, no, that wouldn't make sense. Because Dracula came after dragons.
Or did he?
He's lived forever. I don't know. So Draken, which has the roots in its Latin word Draco, meaning a large constricting snake. Draco Malfoy. Slytherin.
Oh!
They probably got that because they're smart. Well...
Oh my god, J.K. Rowling knows how to use a Google search.
Wow, she can read. That's so weird.
Wait, Google wasn't... No, wait, I'm not going to say that.
Back then? Yeah. It was search engine.
Was it?
I think so.
She went to the library, for sure. She's
a reader.
She had a...
A thesaurus. A thesaurus, Tyrannosaurus, thesaurus. You're like, there's just so many letters out there. It's hard to think, you know?
It's hard to talk.
It's hard to talk out here.
Like...
Who has a podcast these days? That's the comments.
I'm not really much of a talker. You have a podcast.
Man, I'm actually kind of shy. I don't think I can talk. I'm so quiet. So the ancient Greeks wrote of several serpent-like creatures, including Typhon, Ladon, and Hydra, and the Colochian dragon, meant to strike fear in the heart of great heroes. So Germanic mythology also portrays dragons known as worms. Ew, I hate worms. And I don't want to think of them like that.
Go eat worms.
Like, I don't like that they have, like, little slits of skin. Like, that grosses me out.
Isn't it crazy you could, like, cut one and then it, like, becomes 2 worms?
Like...
They multiply. Like,
they gross me out. I don't like that they can move separate. Like, if you keep cutting it, it's just a bunch of little ugh.
Like, imagine, like, if right now I cut you down the middle and you... there were 2 Tiffany's.
No.
Then you'd be a triplet. Oh.
Aw. Yeah. Triplet. No, it grosses me out. Worms can just not exist. But as large venomous serpents with bat-like wings. Okay.
Wait, the worms?
Okay, so these dragons known as worms, or large venomous serpents, had bat-like wings, which keeps getting so much worse.
It's like the bull worm from SpongeBob. With wings.
Ew. However, the distinction between Germanic dragons and regular snakes is often blurred in early depictions, with both referred to as Ormer and in Norse mythology as worm in Old English. Ew, I hate it. The evolution of wingless worms to flying dragons with 4 legs is likely due to influence from the rest of Europe, facilitated by the Christianization of the region in later years.
Wait, what was Christianized? What was it?
The evolution of wingless worms to then become flying dragons with 4 legs is...
What?
There's... I don't know how
we're
much...
We're just saying anything,
I don't know how much we're getting into it, but there was some thing I was reading about, like, Christians believing certain things. Mm-hmm. I can't remember what it was, but it was not...
It's definitely changed.
But it was something about, like, evolution and dinosaurs, and, like, I think they may have believed in... dragons.
Yeah, no, yes, because... Yes. No, I know what you're talking about, because we were both raised in Christianity.
Yeah.
In the Bible, and I think it's in Revelation, they have a talk about a dragon, don't they? Like,
yes.
And they say it's like a monster or something, like, and everyone was like, well, clearly that's not a dragon, it's just a dinosaur that breathes fire. I remember this in Bible study.
Yeah, so
people were like, yep, dragons are real, it says so in the Bible.
See, I'm glad you remember, because I'm like, I have a vague knowledge of, like, there was definitely dragons in Christianity, but, like, I don't know a ton about
the only reason I know that is because Revelations is crazy.
Scary. It's so scary.
It's batty. It's insane.
That, like, was the source of my anxiety and panic.
Revelations is crazy. Like, you will be in a hellfire. We're gonna cut your hair off.
Yeah.
We're gonna then eat it. Like,
we're gonna eat your hair.
Then we're gonna make a little hat out of it. That's how Revelations is.
They're gonna crochet you
like 100 times worse and more bloodshed.
Death. Oh, I had a dream last night. Oh my god, I'm sorry. I have
Did the Book of Revelation happen?
But it might as well have. There was a one of those scary, those things that happen in the dark that aren't real but could be real. Skinwalkers. There was a skinwalker in my dream. In my dream, someone was like taking me to this like abandoned city. And in this city, they were, like, shining light in these, like, little alleyways, and there were these huge, like, skinwalkers climbing up these walls, right? And so then this person, like, takes me to this courtyard, and in the courtyard, like, there's a big opening on one side, and the rest of the side is filled with all these buildings, and they were, like, trying to, like, calculate all these coordinates to, like, send these planes to smash into these, into the skinwalkers, yes. And so the one woman was, like, typing on this iPad thing, and her finger slipped, Logan. Her finger slipped, and instead of putting the coordinate of the skinwalker, she put it into this, like, area we were standing in. So then...
Where's our button for that?
She's moving around on this thing, but she accidentally hit it into the little courtyard area where we were in, and this plane shoots out of the sky into this courtyard and, like, slices this car in half, and, like... all I see in my dream is just blood splattering on the window of the car. And then I woke up. Tell me that doesn't sound like end of time stuff. Like, what? Huh? Like, what?
I barely dream, and you're over here having like
true nightmares.
An episode of The Last of Us.
No, it was so scary. Also, like when they were sending these huge planes really quickly into the ground to hit these things, like they hit the Skywalkers, hit the Skinwalkers, Luke Skywalker. But the fact that it literally crashed into this courtyard and all the debris like flying at me in the dream, and I just see like just like cheesy.
Are you invincible?
Blood. I don't know. Like in the dreams, I'm not dead. I'm still living. I'm still out here.
That's crazy. What if that's an omen?
Am I a dragon? Am I a dragon?
You might be.
Just might be.
That's insane.
Yeah, that was my dream. It's not really relevant, but like, end of times.
That's insane.
It was the end of times.
So yeah, Tiffany, I guess, is living the Book of Revelation in her head at all times.
Yeah, so if you're wondering what's going to happen next, listen to me. So now we're going to get on to dragons among the indigenous tribes.
Oh, nice.
So, which I didn't know there was a ton of, like, dragon lore in indigenous cultures.
But
this is awesome.
Indigenous culture a few times on the show.
Yeah.
But I haven't heard anything about that. I'm excited.
So here we go. So across the Atlantic, dragons also appear in the cultures of many indigenous tribes through the Americas. So the Alini people painted murals of the Piasa bird in the Mississippi River area, a winged dragon figure. Ooh. Its presence isn't quite understood, however. Some believe it originates with the much larger Mississippian culture of Cahokia. Elsewhere in eastern North America, the horned serpent can be seen again and again in native cultures, where it is most typically associated with elements of rain and lightning.
Ooh, I like that.
I love the association with lightning. Like, that makes sense to me. Something about it, like, ooh.
Yeah, no, I've seen a lot of imagery of that before, like, that, like, with, like, rain and lightning before, so that's really cool.
Yeah.
I think, we haven't never talked about it on the show, but I think that's how people think the Thunderbird's a thing, right?
Oh, okay.
Like, the one that comes out during, like, lightning storms and things like that. Like, it's, like, made of electricity or whatever. We've never done the Thunderbird.
Yeah, but we should. That's cool.
Yeah, that's cool. I didn't know that either.
So elements of rain and lightning. I like that all these different places are still, like, associating so many things with, like, the sky in them. Like, a lot of it is, like, the moon, the sun, lightning, rain. Like, it's really interesting.
I like the, what's it called? A griffin. It feels like a lot of these dragons are, like, griffin-esque. Like, with the whole, like, idea of, like, half dragon, half, like, eagle or, like, winged beast. Talon. Like, that's cool.
Ooh, yes.
I like that.
I love it.
So interesting.
I know. Now we're going to talk a little bit about the feathered serpents. You're talking about winged creatures. So perfect little transition back over there. So further south, among the civilizations of the Aztecs and Maya, the depiction of the feathered serpent is just about everywhere.
Yes!
So there you go.
Okay, yeah, I'm remembering.
So first worshipped at Tahitian in the 1st century BC, the deity was originally depicted as an actual snake. However, over time, it's morphed into a figure also bearing human-like characteristics, which I didn't know, and that makes me sick. Ugh. So the Yucatecan Maya worshipped Calaquian, while the later Aztecs worshipped Quetzalcoatl. Ooh. Both figures representing the feathered serpent, a foundational deity in the region's mythology.
That's crazy.
Whoa.
Okay.
Yeah.
We always go back to this.
Mm-hmm.
Have you seen the Scooby-Doo movie where they deal with El Chupacabra? We talked about it, I think, during the Chupacabra episode.
The thing is, I've seen it, but I've fallen asleep almost every time. I have that movie on VHS because...
Well, it is rough. It's a rough movie.
It just makes me fall asleep, respectfully.
But when they're at the Mayan, like, temples and stuff, like, they're at, like, the tourist site. Do you know this scene?
No.
They have, like, a giant... Like, they have that monster, like, attack them and stuff. Like, it, like, comes out of, like, the temple and, like, flies through the air. And they're like, oh, my God! And they're, like, getting attacked by it and stuff.
I love it.
It's insane. Ew. I just never realized that, like, it was an actual creature of, like, that mythology.
You just think Scooby-Doo made everything up, but, like, they're all rooted in real things.
I just thought it was a cartoon. I didn't know. That's crazy.
It makes sense that it's coming from, like,
That's
actual cultures.
Visual. Wow.
I know. Yeah.
I need to read books.
I need to read.
I need an education.
Wow, if only I went to college.
If only I went to college.
Man, you think they would have taught us that in college. What did I pay for?
Read more. Drop book recs in the comments.
Yeah, for real. I read. But, like, get Logan to read.
I might listen. I might do an audiobook.
Little audiobook. Logan has his audiobooks recently. They said so. So, yeah. So now we're going to get on to the Andean serpent deity. Continuing further southward into the Andes of South America, mythical creatures also appear here. Associated with both the Incan and Tawanku empires, the Amaraka was a mythical serpent, sometimes described as two-headed, associated with the underworld of the boundary between spiritual realms, which this sounds visually a lot like the little sibling pair from Dragon Tales, the purple.
Yes! I was waiting for Dragon Tales to come up in this podcast.
God. Benjamin has never seen Dragon Tales.
What?
I'm like, what do you mean you didn't watch Dragon Tales growing? Dragon Tales, bop.
What did you do, play outside?
A normal childhood?
Loser.
Like, come grow up. Like,
Dragon Tales was it. That was the show.
It was so cute.
Oh my god, it does sound like that.
Stop,
it
we
sounds
should
like
get a stone.
We should.
Wait, let's make that our thumbnail. Act like the stone's in our hands. It's not that big, is it? I think it's like this big, so they hold it like this. Stop, it's literally us.
That's us, we're in it.
Literally us.
That's a thumbnail.
So cute. Done, easy peasy, finish.
Edit, post. Wait, it's press. Print.
Print, press.
Done.
Steal. Signed, sealed, delivered.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's cool.
But yeah, watch that show, guys. I know it's for kids, but like, who cares? We can enjoy it too.
Dragon Tales was on the same network as the Tutankhamun show, the Egyptian one, huh?
PBS Kids or?
Well, no, it was on Discovery Kids, but like they had licensing rights for a lot of Dragon Tales.
They had it all. Dragon Tales is so good.
That's crazy.
But unlike Dragon Tales, this one's for the underworld and the boundary between spiritual realms. So like they kind of can jump back and forth between living.
So like the gritty
the
reboot of Dragon Tales.
Yeah. Ooh, this is like the YA version. So like I just like picturing it like, okay, now we're in the spirit world, but now we're in the real world, and I'm in the underworld. Like that's fun.
Dragon Tales. Let's all die
For Dragon Tales.
Dragon Tales.
It's like the nitty gritty. I love it.
That'd be crazy.
So,
I'd watch it.
I would too. Let's get that produced and whatnot.
Let's go.
So the Amaruka could also be seen sometimes depicted as having the head of a bird and its wings, giving it more of a resemblance of dragons. These sorts of serpent deities also extended the Mapuche peoples. In Mapuche mythology, the figures of Tenten Vilu and Kai Kai Vilu were the serpent goddesses of the earth and the sea.
I love that name, Kai Kai Vilu. That's a
Kai
great
Kai
name.
Vilu, so pretty, and Tenten Vilu.
Ooh.
So clearly there are many reports of the beliefs of dragons all around the globe, but are they actually real? So like all these people are seeing all these creatures they think are dragons, and they're clearly very important in cultures.
Yeah.
So now we're going to get some like help into answering that.
Theories or just like
there's some theories to get into the background. So like a little bit of both. So
Dragon Tales actually, funny enough, is a documentary. It's all real.
It's actually a documentary. Nothing in that was made up. The stone was actually magical. Like
that's spoilers for How to Train Your Dragon. That's what they say in How to Train Your Dragon 3.
What?
They're like, it's all real.
Oh yeah.
Like it all actually happened according to the show.
That movie's so sad. I can't even.
Yeah.
It's really sad. To help in answering that question.
Okay.
So, to talk about the beliefs of dragons all around the globe, are they actually real? To help in answering that question, we can look in the history of the dodo bird. So, like, hold on with this, okay?
Aren't they dead?
Hold on. And it's interesting historical parallel in some ways to the history of dragons. So the dodo was a strange bird, and our understanding of its demise and extinction by 1662 is equally strange. The dodo was a flightless bird that lived in the island of Mauritius in the Indian Ocean. It was easy to catch and provided meat to sailors. There were numerous written reports, sketches, and descriptions of the birds from the 1500s through the 1600s. So when the dodo went extinct, no one seemed to notice, and a few years later, scientists began to promote the idea that the dodo was merely a myth and not supported by science. So let's look at the evidence. So 1, it was a very strange creature. 2, no one can find them. And 3, they seem to exist only in old descriptions, accounts, and drawings.
Ooh.
So, had it not been for specimens popping up in the recesses of museum collections and finally brought to light, they could have been labeled simply as myth for as long as the earth endures. But in the 19th century, at last, there was vindication that the dodo was real and that it had merely gone extinct. Since then, the fossils and other portions of specimens have been identified as dodo. So there's some parallels to dragons within this.
Yeah.
So the same list.
I'm seeing the vision.
You're seeing the vision.
Okay.
So dragons are very strange creatures. 2, No one can find them. And 3, they seem to exist only in old descriptions, accounts, and drawings.
Aha!
So, if we don't know our history, are we doomed to repeat it? In recent times, scientists have relegated dragons to myths also. But, unlike the dodo, which is just a particular type of bird, dragons are a large group of reptilian creatures. Moreover, we have descriptions, drawings, and accounts of dragons, not just in handfuls, like we have at the dodo, but massive numbers from all over the world. So, like, it's not just a couple stories here and there. Like, all
like
these
it's
different
global.
It's global.
Global
all these
phenomenon.
cultures. Global phenomenon. So, like, how could it not be real? Have dragons been relegated to myths? Have, like, their stories been created to now be mythical? So, popular fictions such as J.R.R. Tolkien's Lord of the Rings features dragons. Today's kids love tales of adventure that are featuring dragons, but it was not until the 20th century that dragons were seen as myths or fantasies.
Oh, really?
So, like, people thought they were actively, like, on our Earth, like, they were real. So, in 1890, a large flying dragon was killed in Arizona in the U.S.
What?
And samples were sent to universities back east, and this was recorded in a newspaper called the Tombstone Epitaph titled A Strange Winged Monster Discovered and Killed on the Hanatra Desert.
What?
So on April 26, 1890, no one seemed to entertain the idea there were myths then. So people were believing this article and believed it happened. So there's proof.
It was in the 20th century?
In 1890. This is when it happened.
That's crazy!
So then, even in the 1902 edition of the Encyclopedia Britannica, while trying to explain away the accounts of sea dragons or sea serpents, it concluded that they might still exist as their numbers were few by this time. So, like, the encyclopedia thought they were still real too back then. So, hey.
So we used to thought they were real?
Yeah,
like,
people
that was
thought
like...
they were real back then.
That's
so, like,
crazy.
That's why I'm like, how could you say they're fake if there were actual documents? It's even an encyclopedia, like, someone thought they were real.
That's crazy. What?
Yeah, I know. So it would appear that while, with very few exceptions, all the so-called sea serpents can be explained by reference to some well-known animal or other natural object, there is still a residuum sufficient to prevent modern zoologists from denying the possibility that some creature may, after all, exist.
Whoa.
So only 8 years later, after the initial publication of the Encyclopedia Britannica saying these existed, in 1910, the Encyclopedia Britannica then states the following: "Nor were these dragons anything but very real terrors, even in the imaginations of the learned until comparatively modern times. As the waste places were cleared, indeed, they withdrew farther from the haunts of men, and in Europe their last lurking places were the insatiable heights of the Alps, where they lingered till Jacques Bohemian set the fashion which has finally relegated them to realm of myth." So, like, literally, like, 8 years after that initial publication, they then go to say these were mythical creatures.
They were
so
like,
it's
just
like,
kidding.
what changed in 8 years? Was someone, like, it makes me think, like, was some, like, higher thing, government or something like that, like, hush in it.
Wow.
For some reason. I don't know.
Smartphones have ruined dragons.
They've ruined
That's
dragons.
Crazy.
They killed dragons.
Whoa.
So this was only about 100 years ago that dragons first begun to be relegated as mythical status. So apparently since Jacques Bohemian couldn't find one, they were deemed myths. So this one guy couldn't find them, so now they're mythological. It's stupid. So perhaps the idea they went extinct was too much to consider. So through this idea of dragons being myths still defied Encyclopedia Britannica's claim even in the 1920s, they were not too eager to make such bold claims. In 1927... one dictionary consulted still viewed dragons as real but rare. So, like, there's some saying they're real, some saying they're fake, some saying they're real but rare. Like, no one could get on the same boat.
Yeah, I mean, like, that's before the internet, too, so it's like you can't really, like, get, like, a group opinion. And we didn't have a lot of, like, movies or television shows that showed, like, fictionalized dragons in so many ways. That's crazy. So, like, it was just, like, a casual thing to think dragons were real.
Oh my, can you imagine? Like, that's so fun.
Now we're on a podcast talking about them.
Hey, and now we're here. It's real to us. So, in this dictionary, they had said a huge serpent or snake, now rare, a fabulous monster variously represented generally as a huge winged reptile with crested head and terrible claws, and often as spouting fire in the Bible, a large serpent, a crocodile, a great marine animal, or a jackal. So, like, they're, like, really describing this thing. So, like, it's clearly real to someone out there if they're being that descriptive.
Yeah. People just had, like, books of this on, like, their shelves and stuff.
I know.
Probably. That's
so I'm like,
weird.
how is this not? Why is this a myth now?
That's crazy.
But it makes sense that as more people spread out and settled in more lands, the dragons were pushed to the brink of extinction. Many old accounts of dragons had them living underground, particularly near swamps, so like in Beowulf.
Gotcha.
As man develops areas, these
Warm.
habitats... What? Warm?
The swamp.
Oh, and then
Warm.
Beowulf. I was like, okay.
He's hot. Sorry.
Ooh, as man develops the areas, those habitants are destroyed. But just like the dodo, when you can't find them any longer, they are suddenly considered myth instead of being seen as extinct. So now
That's
we're gonna...
crazy.
Yeah.
What if, like, 100 years from now, something that's on the verge of... like, what if we decided pandas never existed?
That's the thing. It's like,
Well,
who's to say that
record on
can't
it,
happen
but-
to anyone? Or like, if we're all wiped out, will they know what human beings were? Like,
Yeah.
that's so scary.
'Cause
I
I'm
don't
gonna
know.
live forever, so I'll be fine.
I'm gonna live forever.
That's crazy. That's cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
So now we're going to get into dragons and their relation to dinosaurs. So many have often connected dragons to dinosaurs. For instance, crocodiles are considered cousins to the dinosaur branch. So like, all these things are connecting.
Like imagine the Care Bear cousins, but not at all.
But like, completely different.
Completely different.
But like, not at all.
If you know the Care Bear cousins, if you know the Care Bears, and then the Care Bear cousins, and then like those little like animal friends, it's kind of like that, but like also like not at all.
Like, picture that, but don't.
Yeah.
So like, when describing dragons, many dinosaur-like things pop up. Examples include the large teeth, reptilian appearance, where they live depending on both dragon and dinosaur, size and shape, and there's a good deal of evidence that one could argue that dragons were dinosaurs. Like, people believe that dragons were dinosaurs.
And I'm one of them.
Oh, well, I believe it too. So, several hundred species have been found as of yet, and more are still being discovered. These creatures vary in shape, size, eating habits, habitats, and personality, much like dragons. As a matter of fact, dinosaurs are lumped into one of the categories in the same way that dragons are, namely for the purpose of this study. So there are many arguments over dinosaurs. Were they warm-blooded, or were they cold-blooded? So have birds descended from them? Did man or man-like creature live during the time of dinosaurs? Why and how did they die out? How did they evolve? And how did their bodies function? So there's all these questions. Then one can review that the various sea dinosaurs, many of which are believed to survive to this day somehow. Some people still
A
believe...
Loch Ness Monster.
Yeah, that he's a dinosaur guy down there. He's still living. So they are described much like dragons, huge, carnivorous, elusive, and serpent-like. So why is it that dinosaurs resemble dragons today? Many believe that man did not live during the time of dinosaurs, which means that dragons came about by other means. But it has been argued that dragons are dinosaurs. Some people believe that the idea of human findings of dinosaur fossils spurred dragon mythologies. People would find, like, dragon bones, and then they were like, what is this thing? And they said it was dragons because they didn't know what it was. They didn't know what dragons were back then.
I don't know why I never connected those before. That's really cool.
Yeah.
Because, like, you could just, like, make a history for yourself. Like, just, like,
they didn't know any
you're
different.
doing what you could. That's crazy.
They're, like, building the bones to see what it's supposed to be shaped like, and they're like, that's a dragon for sure.
Like, I know as, like, far as we know, like how it said in the article that, like, humans didn't walk amongst, like, dinosaurs and stuff, like, but how would they became extinct and stuff. But, girl, if I saw a pterodactyl... That's a dragon.
That's a dragon.
That's a dragon.
Or, like, if I just found some bones like that, I'd be like, okay, a whole
skeleton. Yeah, no,
like,
if they found
sure.
a...
Like,
that's
big,
crazy.
Like, when you see those big, like, skeletal bones, like...
Yeah.
What else are you gonna, like, try to connect it
and just,
to?
like, offsprings and stuff, too. Like...
And especially if there wasn't a word for dinosaur back then, it's easy just to say it's this creature.
And then, I don't know if it goes into this at all, but, like, you have, like, Komodo dragons who, like, are, like, I know they're called a dragon, but they're not dragons. But, like, they have, like, poisonous, like, skin and, like their tongue is poisonous and stuff. That's on par with,
those
like,
things are so
dragon
scary.
ideas. Yeah, they're scary.
There was this episode of Fatal Attractions, and there was this guy who had a bunch of those Komodo dragon things.
Why?
And I don't know, because he was weird. But I guess one time he was, like, running low on their food, and he fell asleep in the middle of the night, and all of his dragons ate him.
No!
And then, like, days later, people, like, came by his house, and there were, like, flies, and it smelled really bad, and, like, his, like, dragons were, like, just feeding off of his body. Like, it was nasty. But, like...
You know, cats do that, too.
Don't say that. Cats are babies. These dragons were scary as heck.
They get hungry.
Don't let me think about my cats that way. They are babies.
That's crazy.
Dragons include land, sea, and water reptiles. Though dragons in old forms of classification also denoted snakes, dinosaurs are more specific. Dinosaurs are land reptiles that, by definition, have one of two kinds of hip structures that allow the creature to naturally raise itself off the ground. So in other words, crocodiles, Komodo dragons, alligators, and so are not seen as dinosaurs since their hip structures have their legs coming out on the side of the belly naturally, and they rest on the ground.
Oh.
So neither would flying reptiles like pterodactyls or water reptiles like plissurs be dinosaurs by definition either. So like they're very specific about like the anatomy of these creatures and what classifies dinosaurs.
So I'm wrong.
Kinda.
Damn.
But like you could still
just
be right.
From the hip formation? That's crazy.
Hip formation, like where their legs sit, like what they're, I don't know.
What do scientists know about anatomy? Okay.
Yeah, like grow up. Like they don't know for sure. Like
yeah, exactly.
How would they know?
If I saw a pterodactyl right now, I think it was a dragon. That's all I'm saying.
That's what if I found those bones. Well, the thing is, they still could be, because these people didn't know like the hip structures of a whatchamacallit. If they believed it was like if they believed it was a dragon, they believed it was a dragon. They didn't know any different. So like they could have told this tall tale.
That's really cool,
and it could have been this because they didn't know the difference. So like previously mentioned, the idea of the dragon is most likely inspired by ancient civilizations, discoveries of giant fossils. Yeah. So like it still could be, even if they didn't know any better.
Yeah, I guess like, this is gonna sound really dumb, but like I guess like if civilizations can make like iconic like pieces of like history, like the Mayan temples, like the Great Wall of China, the Egyptian pyramids, like I guess like it's not a stretch at all to think that they like digged up dinosaur bones and stuff. Like duh. Yeah, duh.
Like they go, oh, that's a dragon. Because they don't know what dinosaurs are yet. And if they do, then they're the ones spitting, it's a dinosaur.
I could see some of them thinking, like, they found, like, deities or, like, gods or, like, monsters and stuff. Like, oh, my God, this is, like, a descendant of, like, this god or, like, this creature.
Yeah, and this is also, this is a slightly side thing that I want us to go through at some point and talk about. But, like, also the idea of, like, there were giants at one point. Like, people find these huge bones and they're like, giants used to live among us. Giants used to live prior to us. Like, that stuff freaks me out. But we should definitely talk about that at some point. So, back to this. The bones of creatures never before seen by any man can quickly take on the life of their own through speculation and storytelling, as we've talked about.
I'm jumping ahead like crazy.
You are. You're on it. Smart. You're just so big brains. So, additionally, many mammalian creatures have existed in prehistoric times, or leading up to the time of humans, were much larger than the ones today. So, remains from beasts such as those may spark a bit of imagination as well, leading past and present people to wonder if these winged and fire-breathing beasts ever existed. And it begs the questions, are dragons a type of dinosaur? So, like, that's obviously back and forth. So we're going to go a little bit into the similarities and differences, and then we'll be done real soon.
I'm chilling. I'm having a great time.
You're chilling. So the similarities. This isn't only hopeful musings. There's a long history of identifying dinosaur bones as dragons in ancient China. The similarities between these creatures... Still coughing.
Grow up.
The similarities between these creatures were their size and apparent relation or resemblance to reptilian creatures. So many dragons, in theory, are described as scaly and serpentine in appearance. Though paleontologists have playfully pointed to dragons when giving new discoveries of dino species names, they still have yet to find a full-on fire-breathing winged four-legged dragon. So, like, the biggest, like, dragon you can picture, they have not found like the exact skeleton of, so it's hard for them to say this for sure existed in scientific terms. So
I mean, that would be huge.
I kind of understand.
Giant.
It would be giant, but also like you can find bits and pieces and like connect the dots a little. I don't know.
Like what if like they like when they were dying they did like a little scavenger hunt. Like the other like dragons like picked up their bones.
They went, they look at the scientists later.
Yeah.
And especially like if they were like
there's
in
like
some
a little
cultures
map.
are smart.
Yeah, there's like a little map. They're like find the pieces.
Find the pieces. If they have like self-awareness, they can just start pulling silly goose egg things.
Isn't that really all science is? Just one big long scavenger hunt.
You're so right. Logan's just so right, guys.
I'm a philosopher.
You're a philosopher.
Dragons are real.
Dragons are real. Also, I would just like to say, I don't know if I told you this already, but when I was looking up about the differences between dinosaurs and dragons.
Yeah.
All of the people on Reddit were so mad. They were so... I'm like, guys, like, you need to chill a little bit.
Like, they were getting mad?
They were getting mad at the idea.
Like, kill yourself vibes?
Like, if people even had an inkling, and like, it would be so cute. There'd be someone being like, "Oh, wait, I think I could kind of believe that like dragons and dinosaurs are the same thing." They were like,
"You should kill yourself."
Idiot. Like, reconsider. But they were very aggressive. So like,
what if this episode gets posted on that Reddit thread?
Well, I'm scared because I'm afraid if we start posting this in the comments, we're gonna get those people saying to get rid of your life. Like, I'm scared.
I get F-slurred again? Oh, no.
Oh, again? But like, I'm scared. But like, also, I kind of believe it, so come at me. Do it.
They're real.
They're real.
Look at us. We are professionals.
Can you tell?
Hear us.
We are experienced.
We are experienced at this.
We know.
Dinosaurs
We're scientists.
Are dragons.
Dinosaurs are dragons. Tell your mother, tell your father, tell your brother, tell your sister, tell your mother.
You know what? Your mother's a dragon,
your mother, and your dad's a dragon, too.
She should lotion a little.
Use a little more lotion. We're going to get into the differences now.
Oh.
So, what are the differences that separate dragons and dinosaurs?
Fire.
In evaluating the differences between what would be deemed a dragon versus many beasts of the Mesozoic era, it's important to look at some of the characteristics of many dinosaurs. As research continues, there are more and more connections between birds and dinosaurs than ever before. It was once believed that dinosaurs were giant reptilian monsters, but that isn't necessarily accurate. Additionally, between cultures, the physical features of the dragon differ greatly. Some look more like giant snakes, while others bear the head of a lion or a big cat.
A big cat?
So, like Luna earlier, she's basically a dragon. And also,
cats are dragons too.
It would make sense because on How to Train Your Dragon, a lot of the like.
Yeah, they have little pads, don't they? Sorry.
Well, that and like the dragons kind of look like cat-like, and I think I read something like the animators looked at like cats like cozy, like the way they like their body language and their eyes and things as inspiration for like the drawings of that movie. So like it's so cute. You can see the cat-like vibes of the babies.
Do you remember when a certain person we lived with wanted to name Binks Toothless? For Danielle, and we all went, "That's stupid."
That's stupid. But she does look like Toothless. But I remember. I remember.
Like, that's.
But she does look like Toothless because she's just a little baby. But I remember. Who could forget?
Funny day.
Toothless.
Anyway.
So there's still so much out there, still undiscovered, and a couple other little short theories just for your brain. If you're like, I don't know if I believe if they're dinosaurs or da-da-da-da-da. But there's a serpent theory. So many people believe that the origin of dragons came from serpents. Rather, they came from snakes and eels that people saw. As time went on and art evolved, these serpents became more and more decorated until they looked more like the like Chinese dragons or sea serpents you see in their mythology.
Yeah.
It is also suggested that people saw mutated eels and snakes and thought that some of their surroundings were a part of them. So, like, they could have seen, like, snakes and sticks and, like...
I mean, that would explain why a lot of the cultures we were looking at, too, like, had a lot of, like, water dragons. Like, dragons of the water.
Like, it makes sense. They're part of their environment, or, like, they're skewed by the environment.
That's cool.
So, thus making them look as if they were demonic. Like, if they saw them in seaweed and things like that, maybe if they just saw the eyes and, like, the tongue or something, they would think it's, like, demonic and scary.
I mean, we as people, like, our brains, like, want to connect, like, the dots of things. So, like, we get, like, really imaginative. That's why I think I get very, like, imaginative with ideas, just like, you know, we try to put things together. So, like, I get it. Like, I get why people would think it's like a dragon or make up like a creature, because it's like, how else do you
their brain is trying to understand.
And like our brains want to find answers. We're looking for them.
And some people thought they were demons, and that's okay crazy. Too. So this actually suggests that dragons were formed out of the misinterpretation of artwork stories and like sites throughout the ages. So like people would have these ideas in their brain, and like they can always like spiral into bigger and bigger things, and suddenly
like having a podcast called The Mystery Files.
Like having a podcast called The Mystery Files, just spiral and spiral and spiral. Like that's us. But now
that's cool.
One more theory called the.
Does it say bears? What does it say?
Bones.
Oh.
Bones theory, which we kind of got into, but it's a little different. So the theory pertains to the remains that people found and called dragon bones. So it still doesn't explain exactly where the term dragon came from. However, it does provide an interesting idea that people thought the bones of dinosaurs to be dragons, and though they were dragons to be descendants or parents to such serpents like the snake and the lizard. So like they think it's more of like a descendant thing rather than like they are just dinosaurs. Like there's a whole descendant.
I mean, I'm not a anthropologist or anything with like bones and stuff like that, but like I feel like eels and snakes and things have like different bone structures, like that spinal thing. Like there's that thing at the museum at the Carnegie, the Natural History. They have like that one dinosaur that has like that weird spine, the big fish thing.
Ooh, yeah. So like it could be a big fish or something like that. Like it makes sense. So the bone theory suggests that people found the bones and created stories about the fierce creatures that once lived within those bones. So like it doesn't necessarily have to be just dinosaurs. It could be all of these serpents or things like that.
Oh, that's cool.
So sadly though, this theory is lacking when it comes to civilizations as China and other Asian dragons due to their unscientific structures. Chinese dragons and Asian dragons could never have originated from seeing bones. On the other hand, one might think that they either adapted the bones to the dragons or they only found some bones. Whichever the case is, this theory is not as likely as the serpent theory. So, like, I feel like serpent theory makes the most sense, but, like, between us little girls over here, we think it has to be the little dinosaurs. I mean,
I love it.
Obviously, make your own opinion.
What if, like, I do what I always do? What if it's both? What if it's
all
of it?
Yeah, what do you
all
believe?
the above.
What do you believe? Then?
I think it's the dinosaur one for sure, because I think like that can peel into like the serpent theory, because there are like aquatic dinosaurs and like a lot of things with like the water. Like there's so many like different dinosaurs and creatures that we're still finding to like this day existed like 200 like million years ago or something. Like there's always a new article about a new species or something being discovered. So I could just see dinosaurs being like dragons, like just like spiraling, but like also at the same time, like I think like So yes, because they have like dinosaurs that were able to like spit acid and like things like that too. So it's just like, is it really hard to believe that there would be like one that did breathe fire, or even if it didn't breathe fire, did people or whatever see that, you know, like some like they thought they saw fire but it wasn't fire, you know what I mean? Like what's the catch there?
I guess I also want to know, like, you don't have to explain like the specific place that you like the most, but like which feature of a dragon do you like the most? Like the ones that could do like the eclipses, the one that can make lightning, like which one do you enjoy the idea of most?
I liked so the two I like the most. I like the Southeast Asian one because they had like the four like corners of like that area, and I like that it was like water dragons like protecting it. Because I think it goes back to the serpent thing you're talking about too, back to the dinosaurs. Like it's just like really cool. And I also liked when we were in India what they were talking about with like the shapeshifter one. That's like not really like, oh yes, that's more scientific, but it's cool. It's fun.
Cool.
It's a very fun concept.
Yes.
I think it's the only one that did that, like, exact thing of, like, yeah, they can be humans or dragons. That's cool.
I just love the idea of one being shapeshifter and it also being, like, conscious. Like, it...
Yeah!
I'm like,
it can just be chilling with
that.
you.
Like a humanoid
You can go get
thing.
coffee with a dragon?
Like, I can talk to a dragon. And it makes sense for dragon tales because those dragons can talk and are also, like, sentient beings. So, like, that's what I believe.
Exactly.
So, yes. But I also do believe that they were either dinosaurs or they were other creatures that people saw the bones or remains of and went, that's a dragon because that's all I'm familiar with. Like, it doesn't have to be that they weren't dragons, but, like, that's what they thought it was.
Yeah,
so,
I mean, I think that's the takeaway from this episode is that even though dragons, how we know them today, may have never existed, dragons, like,
in
as
some regard,
what we knew, like, could have existed because there's so many stories and things that spiral on this, like, imaginative wheel, or even just, like, it's close to a lot of people's cultures. So who am I to say it's imaginative? It's just, like, you don't know.
Well, then it also goes into, like, if it weren't dinosaurs or something, and people say, like, dinosaurs didn't exist at the same time as humans, like, then why are all these people saying they saw these creatures? Like, it could have been a descendant from dinosaurs or something, because people saw these things, or, like, experienced them in some capacity. Like, it's just strange that, like, all these people on different corners of the world believe that they saw, or something is big in their culture. Like, there's some truth there, for me.
This is a side thing, but I saw a TikTok one time, or it was a tweet. It was something. It was a post on the internet.
Yeah.
Anywhere. It was all these like giant like whales, like humpback whales, like underneath the water, and you could see a little bit of like their tail popping up, like it looked like the Loch Ness almost.
Ooh.
And people in the comments were saying stuff that like, honestly, if I was born in the 1700s and I saw that thing, I would think it was like a sea monster. I would think it was like the Loch Ness. I would think it was some like dragon about to kill. Like people in the comments were like, "Yeah, I can't blame them." Also, I would have thought that too.
They didn't have like the quick resource to look up what is this creature. Like obviously they could read books and things, but like there's so much they would have to look into to be able to find the exact thing they were thinking of and looking at. So like.
And the accessibility of education is always like growing and growing, so it's still like not fully at like what its highest level could be. So like who are we to say then?
I believe it.
Yeah. This is a great one.
Thank you.
Very fun.
Now we're gonna get into our little conclusion then. So I thought something was behind you. I was like, what, Logan?
No, I was just getting prepped.
Okay. So in conclusion, it is nearly impossible to find where the myth of dragons originated from. Draconic creatures that breathe fire appear in mythology and folklore worldwide, across centuries and millennia. Unfortunately, many of these stories also have evolved completely independently of one another. So where do these myths come from? And why is it that so many disparate civilizations have formed their own dragon tales? Yet, dragon tales. Yet, in the end, we have no way of truly knowing how and why dragon legends play such a role in mythology. But it is clear that they will continue capturing the hearts and imaginations of many for generations to come. So I guess the existence of dragons will forever remain
a mystery. Yeah. Wow. Thank you guys.
Thank you guys. We love you the most. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening.
Follow us on the Instagram at the Mystery Files _.
Insta.
Follow us on the TikTok at
the Mystery Files Podcast.
Yes, and this was episode 2 of season 8.
Yes.
We'll see you next time.
We'll see you next time. Love you guys the most.
Yes, I'm gonna go breathe some fire to make some popcorn. Maybe, who knows?
Yeah, there you go.
We'll see. Okay. All right. Bye, guys.
Goodbye.